My God, how are we feeling? We've been here since. I have to, wait, before we get into the movies, who are the sick monsters that when you saw the guy with the mask and the oxygen tank, it started laughing?
Yeah!
Security, get these people out of here.
Fuck that guy.
Before we bring out the man of the hours, I should say. I gotta give a shout out to, let me get this right, I think it's Tom and Jared, who's the, Tom and Jared up in the booth, our projectionist. So, thank you guys, you're amazing, thank you for being here. But they're not the only people who are here, there's someone obviously who's very, very special. Let's think about this. He gave us obviously Darkman, Quick and the Dead. He gave us Drag Me to Hell. He's the man that invented and gave us the entire world of the Evil Dead.
Yeah!
For the love of the game, the gift. He completely redefined and reinvented the superhero genre. What else did he do? He took us to Oz. He went to the multiverse of madness for us. He created Ghost House, the production company, and is a producer on over 20 movies. He's also the star of the last 30 seconds of The Evil Dead 2. He's a genre of one. There is no one like him. It is the rarest of privileges and honors to be able to introduce this man. So, the good people of Los Angeles, please welcome the great man from Michigan. Ladies and gentlemen, the one, the only, Mr. Sam Raimi.
Sam.
Thanks for coming, guys. Thanks for watching all the movies and any other ones you've seen besides these three. I really appreciate it. Thank you for that warm welcome.
Sam, thank you for being here. I told you you were in a room full of friends, and you're in a room full of friends.
I was a little nervous backstage. I feel better now.
So, we've just watched 3 incredible movies: Darkman, Quick and the Dead, and obviously Drag Me to Hell.
And you want your money back?
When you think back to these films, what are the types of memories? Do you look back on your films much, or are you always just looking straight ahead?
I don't think about them that much, except when I hear about, oh, Liam Neeson's in a new movie, or I remember Liam on the set of Darkman, you know. He's such a sweet guy, by the way. I remember one day he said to me, Sam, I want the crew to call me Darkman. It was weird. I said, okay, are you sure? Yes. But then I remember on the set, I would hear a production assistant say, cup of coffee, Darkman. I thought, that's so weird. Actors are unusual. Especially because when I think about it now, it's like, that's not your real name, or it's not what you call yourself? That's just the name of from an outsider writer's audience point of view, we call you.
It's always dark. So Darkman was, and we'll talk about this a little bit, it was very much a pivotal movie for you. It was a pivot, I should say, and it was a transition. And there was a theme in these films that we selected to play today. This was a transition going from like a true independent filmmaker. You were coming off the back of Evil Dead 2, a $3.2 million budget, and all of a sudden you're working with Universal and the budget's like $14 million. What was that transition like? And how did you change as a filmmaker going through that process?
The transition was very slow because they kept us in development with the script at Universal for years, and it was excruciating because I've been used to just making movie after movie. But once I graduated to 16 millimeter with Evil Dead and then 35 millimeter and started making 35 millimeter movies, I didn't think I wanted to go back to Super 8 and just make them. Perhaps I should have, but it took years. So the transition was, like when it finally came, it was like, yes, let me make the movie already. But the process of working with the studio was disappointing.
Was that because of the constraints that they put upon you? Did you feel that you were hindered in some ways and you weren't allowed to express yourself as creatively as you had been on your previous films? What was the source of the frustration?
The source of the frustration was, besides development hell, was they wouldn't let me cut my own movie. My previous movie, 2 movies ago, called Crime Wave, had been taken away from me, and I never got a chance to do my cut of the movie. So I cut with my editor, Evil Dead 2, myself. I promoted someone who had been an effects person, Kay Davis, and a good trailer cutter, but that was really something that I got to cut myself because I didn't want the experience of having it taken away from me. And then when Darkman came along, I said to Universal, I need to have my own editor. And they said, no, we're going to make the movie, but we're not going to give you your own editor. And so they put aboard their own cutter. And when the editor's cut was due, he said, I can't make head or tail out of this. I need more time. And he said, look, I only have a couple weeks. I need you to finish like in a week then. But he took about 3 weeks more, and then he quit and walked away and said, this won't cut together. And then I had a few weeks to start to cut it together, and Universal says, we cannot wait anymore. We need to have a screening. And then I had the screening, and I could not believe when the technical people who are in charge of the scores came out. They told me I had broken a record, which was incredible. I had scored the lowest of any Universal ever. And this is like going back to the 50s when they started. So Universal says, we're taking the picture away from you and we're going to put our own cutter on board. You're going to put your own editor on board? I haven't had a chance to really edit this movie. I've been on it for like 2 to 3 weeks myself, and I was left a mess by the last editor. They go, no, you're going to take a trip and come back in a month or 2. So they got their cutter to cut it, and instead of like a 22, whatever that, I think that number was, it went up to like a 25. And they didn't have any editors to take away from me anymore. That was the only good moment I had. And then they cut it one more time, and it went up to like a 27. And they said, we're washing our hands of this mess.
And is that the version that we saw today? Is that the final version, or?
No, the one editor that had stayed aboard was an editor who I had hired, Bob Morawski. I brought him aboard. He's a great editor in history.
Yeah.
And he says to me, we're not gonna leave the movie like this, are we? And I went, no. What do you mean? And he goes, let's fix it. I go, oh, well, yeah, that's a good idea. So I said, Bob, do you still have the keys to the editing room? He said, yeah. I said, well, you call me when the last person leaves every night, because the editors had left. It was just the assistants cutting in finished effects now. And there was still one work print. And this is before the days of digital, when there was 1,000 copies made. There's no copies, it's just the work print. And Bob would call me, and we had about 7 days more until they made the dupes for sound. At that point, they would make many duplicates in black and white for different sound members to work on it. Dialogue, effects, for the music department. I had 7 days, he'd call me, they're gone. So Bob Tapper and I would go in, and sometimes he had to leave early, but we used his keys, but he was always there with us eventually, and he would, with me telling him what I needed, he would cut in this scene and that scene, we'd recut this moment, put these shots in, and we couldn't do everything we wanted to do because our time was up. Yeah. We could only spend so many nights in the cutting room because the dupes had to be made. And then we were never seen again. And the dupes were made of this print that we had redoctored.
Respond to this.
Universal doesn't really want people to know this.
Anyway, but please, don't tell anyone, okay? Sam's telling you a secret.
It's really true because we then did the sound to that, and they let me mix it. Yeah. So the movie came out, and it was #1, and it made a lot of money for them. And I get a call from Jim Jacks. He's passed away, God rest his soul, but he called me and said, I'll fucking kill you. What the hell do you think you did? Jim, I know it sounds crazy, but I never had a chance to cut the film. I don't give a fuck what you say. I would sue you, and Universal would sue you if, and he said, I'm not going to tell him because I'm going to be in so much trouble. But if this movie had not made money, you would never work in this town again. Or if I had the guts to tell Universal, because I need my job, he said. Because he should have known that I was sneaking in there, or that the print had changed.
That's his fault, it's not yours.
It's not my fault that I got the movie. But I got really lucky that it made money. I figured I'd never work again either way. Either the movie comes out as is, and I'll never work again.
Yeah.
Or I don't, or they catch me, and I'll never work again. I didn't know that they would catch me and I would be promoted. But I got very lucky with that. Don't try stuff like that.
And you wrote Dogman as you have many other films. You wrote it with your brother Ivan. And, yay! I have to say, I love the family business. business that you've got going on. One of the biggest cheers and rounds of applause that of these 3 films got today was when you ran over your brother's head with a truck. These people are terrible, Sam. They're terrible people. But so what was that process like working with Ivan? And I have to ask, because one of the other biggest cheers, who wrote the line, "Take the fucking elephant"?
Ethan Cohn.
Yeah, I can do
it. It's amazing. And then you wrote Drag Me to Hell with Ivan as well. And that's very much a campfire story. That's fair to say. Talk about that process. What's it like when the 2 of you are writing these films? And how much does it transition from the script to the screen?
Well, we had written together since college a story that Ivan was working on. Actually, a super great movie that I directed called The Happy Valley Kid. He contributed a lot of material to that. And then he wrote a story in college, and we roommated together with our buddy Rob Tappert, my producer.
Woo!
And he had, we worked on a story he had, and we turned it into a screenplay. So it was I've always had a long history of starring my little brother or writing with my older brother. So it was, but how Drag Me to Hell? You want to know about the script process of that?
Yeah, the script, and then we'll get into talking about making the film and shifting from the behemoth of Spidey into Drag Me to Hell.
Well, we were originally trying, I said, Ivan, I think I might be able to make one of these shows, what was it called? Tales from the Crypt. Kind of got a call from one of the producers on. They said, we'd be interested in you if you had a story. So I started working on a story with Ivan. I never really made official contact with him beyond that call. But then we started working a story, and we couldn't quite get it together in time. And we kept working on it every time we get together. And it got longer than the Tales of the Crypt, because while we were figuring it out, it grew in length and beyond what their format was. And then next thing I know, Tales of the Crypt is off the air. And we have this unfinished story, and we just kept writing it. And we wrote it from 1992, I think right after we wrote Army of Darkness and made that, until then I got movies that kept getting in the way, and Ivan kept moving from medical job to medical job. He's a doctor, and it was the longest script ever, and only once I was done with all the Spider-Man movies did we finally get a chance to complete it. And at the time I was thinking, oh, this is a movie that I'll produce, and I'll find the best director possible. But I could not get the financing, even with a great director.
And so you took it upon yourself, and it's a Ghost House movie as well.
Joe Drake, my partner in Ghost House Fiction, called and said, Sam, you should direct this movie, because otherwise it's not going to get made. And so I thought about it and thought, oh, you know, I really do like this movie, and maybe I'll never work again once it's made. It's so weird, but I've had that problem before.
And so that transition, I talked about it at the beginning of you, and as I said earlier, you literally redefined superhero cinema with the Spider-Man movies. Just incredible success, like massive on such an epic scale. And those films just got bigger and bigger and bigger. Spider-Man, the budget, it's somewhere, it's reported it's a wide range. It's from like 260 to 350, depending on what you read. And then Drag Me to Hell, it's a $30 million movie. That's a really interesting shift for a filmmaker to say, hey, I'm going to go back and even get back to kind of some of my roots, I would imagine that you had a lot more creative control over this than probably anything that you'd had in your career. How did that feel? And then also, did you just have to completely retrain yourself, or was it just you found old muscle memory kicking into place in making the film?
Well, I didn't, when Joe Drake called and said, hey, you should make it, and I saw that, and that only came to me later. Oh, they won't mess with me. And I'm kind of the owner of the material and the company. So I'm slow sometimes. But that came after, yeah. Yeah, that was great. But the other part of your question was about how did it feel? It felt great. It was muscle memory. It felt great to get back in gear, a car. Oh, this is my old Pinto. Yeah! I know how to drive this thing. It doesn't have gears even. It just goes or stops. It was so nice not having to introduce a villain and villain 2 and villain 3 and villain 3's son. It was easy to drive that Pinto.
And obviously Morawski is on this because he worked with you through so many films. Were you in the edit with Bob on this as well, or at that point did you have such a shorthand that he just instinctively knew what he was cutting to?
Bob just cuts.
Yeah.
And I go, that's good. How about I get you? No? Good. So, it started with us being co-cutters, kind of on Army of Darkness. Because again, he saved my life with Darkman. And not reward him, but I saw what a good editor he was. So he had not been like a feature film editor, I don't think, before that. So we co-cut Army of Darkness, and then he was awesome. And then I let him recut my half. I cut half and he cut out. And I went, your half is better than mine. Okay, so then he became an editor ever since.
Yeah, he's a master. He really is, and an Oscar winner as well for Hurt Locker.
Oh, for Hurt Locker, yeah. Congratulations, yeah.
Next time you see him, congratulations.
Bob is everything though. He doesn't let me get away with things. Like even on Drag Me to Hell. Why am I pointing at that thing?
Projection, can we run Drag Me to Hell again?
Even on Drag Me to Hell, I'm driving home from Daly's, not from Daly's, from the shoot. And I say, I call Bob on my phone, I say, in-car phone, probably, the built-in kind, old-fashioned kind. So I say, Bob, I didn't hear about Daly's yesterday. Did I forget anything? You forgot one thing. What's that? What did I forget? The performances. All right, I'll get better performances. He's very tough. He doesn't screw around because he knows he's going to be sitting in that editing room with that footage day after day cursing my name. So he's going to curse me right now, and stop the problem where it started here.
I love that you talk about performances because it's a perfect segue into Allison. You put her through the ringer on this. I mean, she's as close to a Bruce Campbell, outside of Bruce Campbell, that I think you had. But she really wanted to go for this. I mean, she attacked this role, right?
She did such a great job, and I never give her credit for it. Nor will I now. No, I don't know why I don't talk about her, but she's great actress, and she really did do anything to get the movie made. And I only heard later from her driver, yeah, she was so scared coming to set every day that I would drive her. I'd say, how do you know? Because I had to pull over to the side of the road, of course, once she vomited multiple times. Because I didn't understand what I was putting her through, or I intentionally put a blinder on. All right, bury her alive in the mud. More drowning? Stay underwater, Allison. I know you can hear me. It was horrible. But I knew I had to do it for your enjoyment.
You're not on social media, which I think is a good thing. But there was a really nice moment in June of this year. There was an account that posted behind the scenes footage of the nose that turns into the maggots, and so they posted the behind the scenes footage of that, and it was behind the scenes like footage of Addison Lohan, a face full of maggots. And she saw this tweet and she responded very simply. She retweeted it and said, thank you for reminding me. And the thing totally blew up. And then she went on and she was very gracious and she was very thankful. And she says, yeah, I'm a stay-at-home mom right now. I'll get back into acting later. I just want my kids to grow up. But it was a really nice moment. And she spoke so affectionately of the torture that you put her through. You should feel good about that.
Stockholm Syndrome.
Thinking about cast as well, and a little bit about Quick and the Dead. You've worked with. You've worked with such incredible talent over the years, but I don't think there has been a cast in any of your films as stacked with just heavies as The Quick and the Dead. And there's a lot of character actors, great character actors, Keith David, Gary Sinise, Tobin Bell's in there. And then you start getting to a young Leo, a young Russell Crowe, Sharon Stone, and obviously Gene Hackman. It's an unbelievable cast. What was it like working with that body of talent? Was it liberating because they're all so incredible, or was there a sense of trepidation because you're dealing with such an incredible body of people?
It was brand new for me. Like you're saying, I never dealt with anyone having anything to say on the set but me. I hear Bruce screaming out sometimes in pain. I never said anything. But it was daunting working with Gene Hackman. But I had heard he doesn't like directors. And,
He's in the wrong business.
yeah, I guess he really didn't like me at all.
He didn't like any though, Sam, so it's fine.
No, that's good. But he was immensely talented, so it was okay, because his performances were so riveting. And Russell was a really great guy. Very nice, funny, super talented in his scenes. Knew all his lines. Everyone's backwards and forwards, and just a great guy. And then Sharon Stone was my boss.
Yeah, she was co-producer on the film.
She was co-producer.
Co-producer, yeah.
Yeah, she had all the power though. I mean, I thought it was some prank because I kept getting this phone call. Hello, Sam. It's Sharon Stone. Right. I'm my answering machine. would you call me at this number? I said, I'm not calling that number. And then I get the same call like 3 days later. Why haven't you called me, Sam? Sharon, please give me a call. Fuck that.
And at that point, she's literally the biggest star in the world, right? Because she's coming off the back of Fatal Attraction, and then she had Sliver, and Sony acquired this film, or they bought the script as a vehicle for Sharon Stone, who was a Army of Darkness fan.
I couldn't believe it. Yeah, and she was. When my agent called me, he says, "Why aren't you returning Sharon Stone's calls?" Is it the real Sharon Stone? Yes, you idiot. She said she left a number of messages for you to call her. No, she didn't. We'll call her now. So I got. She knew that she had called me. I forgot on the answering machine. I mean, the first thing I said was, "Oh, hello, Sharon. Why have you taken so long to call me back?" "Oh, maybe you left the messages somewhere else?" Somebody else's machine? She goes, "Well, I was given your number by your agent, and the message on your machine said, 'Hello, this is Sam.'" "Oh yeah, I forgot about that. I left it on the machine. What do you want, Sharon?" No idea. Anyways, let's not talk about that.
But she really fought for you, and she really wanted you to make this film, and she stood her ground and said this film wouldn't get made without you. So that's a testament to you as a filmmaker and her support.
She fought for me, and I'm sure there were many people at the studio that went, "Sam, who? What? Why do you want him?" And maybe one or two are probably thinking, "I used to work at Universal. I know what he did in the last one." I don't know. She got me the job, and it was great being around all that talent, as you suggest. I think it's all due to my casting director, Francine Maisler. She's so amazing. And I remember, I'm gonna tell you one casting story. She goes, "Okay, I want you to meet this guy. What's your kid's name again? Titanic kid?
Leo.
And she goes, "I want you to meet this kid, Leo. He's unbelievably great." I go, "Okay." So this kid comes in. I'm thinking, "God, you're young. Even for the kid, you're young. You look like you're 15. Now it's like 16 or 17." I was thinking, and maybe he was 15. But he comes in, sits down, puts his feet up on my desk. He goes, "Okay, tell me about this movie of yours." And the first impression I had was, I hate this kid. But then I reviewed his work up to that time, and he was brilliant. And he was just great. And so I told Francine, "I'll take him." But I love Leo, and he was great to work with. And that was the only moment I ever had where there was, I didn't know if he was kidding me. Then I realized he wasn't kidding me. But he's such a great actor.
Yeah.
And in person, such a nice guy.
Yeah, it shines through in the film. It really comes through. You get a lot out of all of the cast in this film. The other thing that I wanted to talk about in that film in particular is the score and the music, working with Alan Silvestri. Because the score in that film, it's almost a character unto itself. How closely did you work with him, or did you let him do his thing?
I let him do his thing, and I told him, like, we have spotting sessions, what the intent and the different scenes were, but it's not like they were thinly veiled intent. Someone comes into a room, I'm gonna kill you, lady. So it didn't take a lot of nuance in this. Everyone has a spotting session. But besides that, no, he went off on his own. He was the great Alan Silvestri, and I had loved his music, and he just did a great job.
Yeah. You'll be glad to know that when Gene Hackman, when he gets his, you can hear a pin drop when he gives his big speech. And he's telling everyone, he's telling everyone, you know, like, you work for me, I should charge you more money, and so on and so forth. You can hear a pin drop. But you'll be really glad to know when he got shot through the head, the entire audience erupted in cheers. Oh my God! He's very powerful actor. Yeah, he is. He's phenomenal. Speaking of acting, we saw your acting chops as well today. Yeah. And can we bring your daughter up on the stage? Get a chair as well. Emma Raimi, everybody. Emma Raimi. Sorry, let's Raimi start winning.
This thing on? Oh, yeah. Hi, everyone. I just really quickly wanted to, quickly wanted to mention something that you didn't bring up, but is only brought up within the family, and I think we should air it to these strangers right now. That Mrs. Ganoush was actually based on our great family member, our great aunts, and very similar to Mrs. Ganoush. And so, Dad, can you go into the story about Aunt Minnie?
I told you never to mention her name. The least said about her, the better. But yes, I have a Hungarian Aunt Minnie. I may seem old to still have an Aunt Minnie, but therein lies the question. Is she still alive? My Aunt Minnie used to tell me, Sam, I can't even say this. Some part of it I can't say, but she would give me the evil eye, or threaten to give me the evil eye, to my brother and I, Ivan. And she would turn around in the car if we were laughing too loud in the back or making trouble. She'd turn her neck around, like a little bit more than is possible. And she would look at us and say, "You want me to give you an evil eye?" I kept thinking to myself, aren't you already giving me that? Half of her eye was like this, not as exaggerated as in the movie, but this pale blue, and her other eye was like green, and she was a great cook. One time I went to the funeral, a family member's funeral, and somebody said, "Oh, Aunt Minnie's husbands are buried here." And I said, "What?" They go, "Yeah, her husbands are buried here." And they take me over to see the graves. That's her first husband, and that's her second husband, and that's her third husband, and that's her fourth husband, and that one over there is her fifth husband. And there were like 5 graves. And she wasn't there because, well, I had asked my mother, how come you calls her Aunt Minnie. How's that possible? And she says, well, we've always called her Aunt Minnie.
We've always been told to call her Aunt Minnie.
And not to ever call her anything else. And then one day, my mother says to me, I said to my mom, how come I haven't seen Aunt Minnie at any of these dinner gatherings over the last 2 years? I didn't really want to see her, so I didn't ask. But she said, Aunt Minnie died a couple of years ago. I went, oh, no one told me. Oh yeah, she moved down south, and when she went there, she died. And I thought, even as like a 12-year-old, that sounds really fishy.
So Aunt Minnie had said she has some business to take care of down south. We don't know where, and then she just disappeared forever.
How do we know if it was the southern United States or? But anyways, yeah, that character is based on Aunt Minnie.
You can take this wherever you want. I'm just a member of the audience right now. I was going to ask what's it like growing up with Sam Raimi as your dad, but I think we've got a slice of this. You've acted in a lot of his movies.
Yeah, I was hoping you would bring that up, but I did, and so I thought, I watched them back, it's really painful, and so I thought I would give my dad some payback and force him to act in my movie. But yeah, just watching the scenes back, I was a very annoying child. So like I don't know how my parents didn't kill me. It's so ugly.
I wasn't going there.
No, I would say no. I was an ugly child.
I wasn't going there either. So you acted in his movies. Did you always want to be a filmmaker? So
no.
How did so obviously you screened your short today. We programmed it. So thank you for submitting.
Woo!
In the short.
Thank you.
It's awesome, and it was great to see it in this theater as well. So and to see it on the screen was really special.
She's a great director. I really think so.
And not just because I'm his daughter, but a little bit because I'm his daughter.
No, I would say that to anyone sitting next to me. That didn't come out the way I meant. That is a great movie. Thank you for putting me in it.
Growing up on Sam's sets, did you always think about that this was something like you wanted to make movies?
No, actually, it's really when I got into, like, I was doing theater, I majored in theater, and it was when I discovered movies are so insufferable, male-dominated, that I was like, I want to change that. I don't think I don't want every single female in all the historic greats of cinema to just be really hot and skinny all the time. What about women who also who have character, who are ugly? Why can't we have a woman who is not conventionally attractive star in a movie? Why can't it just made me feel really bad, and I didn't like movies, and I was like, wait, I think I know why I don't like movies, because I don't see myself in film. I'm just the culture of film bros too. It's just I just hated the people who love film. I was just so male. And then I understood why I hated them, because I think film culture can be really pretentious. And I wanted to, I just want to create movies that speak to me and I guess push the feminist agenda.
And in making this, is it nervous because like Sam, your father is such an accomplished filmmaker? Do you go to him for notes? Does he provide notes? Do you tell him to stay away? How does that work?
Hiring my dad was very, it was very like, it's always tough, to give a struggling actor a chance. And I feel like from the empathy that I have, that's, maybe more than the average empathy of any director, because I don't know if they would cast him, but I did, because I just feel that deeply. And I wanted to help him out, for helping out someone.
You will be seeing me at home tonight.
But no, it was fun. And my dad is secretly a performer. He hates attention, but he secretly loves it. He wish I didn't say that. But I loved directing him. He was the perfect actor because he's always checking up, like, do you have any notes? I'm like, I will tell you the notes I have when I have a note for you. Like, how is that? How is that? I'm like, I'm focusing on an angle right now. Can you please? It's not all about the actor. I'm used to being the boss. So he's just always like asking like what he could tweak, and he was so like
kind.
I was gonna say conscious, nervous. No, I'm kidding. No, he was always very concerned if he had done me proud. He said, "Are you proud of me? Are you proud of my performance? Like, I hope I didn't ruin your movie." And it was so sweet because he was such a good actor.
I never said that.
Yes, he did. He literally said that many times on set and afterwards.
But are you proud of my performance?
We'll talk about this at home. No, he did a great job. He did a great job. He looks like an old Italian mob boss. Not old, but
Sexy.
I thought it was a good role.
Did you always envision Sam taking that role?
Did we?
I don't remember. I had one line.
No, I didn't actually. I didn't, but I think we were talking with my writer and producers who are here, and we were like, "Can we have
Great
a round of
film.
applause?"
Thanks.
Stand up. We were brainstorming the stand up. Like, sorry, that's really I didn't mean to order you around like that, but yeah, it's a director or having a control problem. I don't know, but yeah. So we were just I don't know whose idea it was, but we were like, oh my god, like we should cast my dad. And I was like, no, he's never gonna agree to it. He's never gonna agree to it. But it would be perfect to have him like sitting back at the desk like, with whiskey and like a cigar like hanging like just right there. I just feel like he's all he does is sit at a desk like to work. So I see him all the time behind his desk and with like a glass of whiskey. I mean, he doesn't drink on the job, but don't spread that. But
I saw something moving in the shadows last night on the other side of the desk. That wasn't you, was it?
no, that was the Lamia.
At least she didn't say Minnie.
Aunt
Did you
Minnie.
pull any Liam Neeson moves on set? Like, what did you do to get into character for this part? Yes, you.
All I said was, call me old man. The crew, call me old man.
And I don't know if you caught it, but we had Dermot Mulroney playing his boss on the phone. Yes. He did such a good job.
And so what's next to you both? Are we going to see? So I have to ask the question: Darkman, so he's a comic book character, obviously, right? You wrote him as a comic book character, and he disappears at the end. Huge applause for Bruce Campbell in the room today. Darkman is wide open, and sure, there were some sequels that, we don't reference, but is there a future for Darkman?
I hope that one day Universal will make another Darkman movie. I think it'd be really cool.
Yeah, I think we'd all go and agree with that as well. And you're in pre-production on a.
I'm in pre-production for a horror film as to be turned into a video game.
Woo!
It's currently going to be a short, but the goal is to market it to become a feature. But especially after the game comes out, we're hoping that it'll become a horror game. We're hoping that it'll take off a little bit enough for me to get money.
There's small guys at Universal that might want to fund it. So
yeah.
And so your path, your desire is to go from shorts and transition into feature movies.
Mm-hmm.
Features, yeah.
Correct.
How does that make you feel, knowing all of the crazy ride that you've had making movies, that through your career and now your daughter, she's following in your footsteps and making movies?
How do I feel about her following?
Yeah, following your footsteps and thinking about your career and how difficult it was at the beginning, and then the mountains you've climbed.
That question makes me think Emma was right in naming me the old man.
You've all seen the credits. I think that's what you mean I just said that. Yes, I did just say that. They went into credits. The credits don't say old man, and if you watched, you would know that.
I feel great having anything to do with Emma, and to see that she's taken up filmmaking was scary, because I know that so many people who love movies like to try and make them, and they're so often unsuccessful, either in getting the funding or in making a quality film. It takes practice, like plumbing takes practice to become a good plumber, and you've got to be successful in your early plumbing career, which is, that thing is leaking. I'm not going to hire you as a plumber. So every job has to be kind of really good to get to the next job. And so I was frightened for my daughter, and then I was incredibly impressed and exhilarated when I saw she was a really great filmmaker.
Well, thank you.
It's amazing.
Now, I want to clarify.
Yes.
I'm talking about her early movies. Then, though, when she went to high school, I don't know. No, I'm not talking about your other movies. I love your movies.
Thank you.
Well, it's fair to say that we spent decades loving your movies, and the hope is that we're going to spend decades more loving your movies as well, and everything that you've got coming, Sam, because
So nice of you.
you haven't finished, right? You have a lot more movies in you, and Emma, you obviously do too as well. So.
The hope is when he dies, you'll at least have me. So.
Well, I'm not ending this. I am not ending the prospect of a dead Sam Raimi.
Don't give her any ideas, folks.
Aunt Minnie is related to me, so.
But seriously, we want nothing more than a lot more movies from both of you, whether it's shorts into features or features into shorts, however you want to do it. The world needs more of the Raimis. So we've had.
Thank you, guys.
We've had some incredible people here through the years. This is the second time that we've been fortunate to host you at Beyond Fest. It means the absolute world to us that you took the time out to be with us today. Thank you for coming out from behind the
Thank you
desk.
for showing 3 movies, and it's an honor to be here with this group of film lovers, and thank you for your warm response tonight to Anna and myself and to the movies and how cool to be in Beyond Fest and how cool to be in the Egyptian theater with you guys.
Woo!
Thank you.
Woo!
How cool is it to be here with Sam and Emma Raimi?
Woo! Woo! We love you, Sam!